Alright, how's it going today, guys? So, we've got a bit of a longer project here. We're going to be working on breaking down hematite, and I will show you the different options we have for it and give you the reasons why I'm doing it the way I am. So, hematite can be smelted into iron with limestone, calcite, or marble dust with coal, carbon, whatever, just like we do for the magnetite, black sand, basaltic mineral sand, all that kind of stuff. The only difference is we need the calcite to process it, where we don't on the other one. So rather than smelting it, what I'm going to be doing is bathing it. And we bathe the hematite in hydrochloric acid, and it gives us ferric chloride and some water, nothing else. Now, keep in mind, 5 hematite gives us 2 sets of 4 for the ferric chloride and 9 units of water. Now, the ferric chloride, we could bathe it into ferric oxyhydrite, which is basically using steam, turns it back into pretty much hematite. We smelt it down, it turns into molten hematite. Nothing we want to do, because molten hematite can only be mixed with hydrochloric acid, again in the mixer, for ferric chloride. There used to be an electrolyzer recipe that has been done away with. So what we're going to be doing is putting it into a mixer. Now, there are 2 basic ways of doing this. There is this way, which is putting the 8 ferric chloride together with an iron, and it gives you 9 ferrous chloride. Now, this is basically a loop where you're going to take one of your iron from processing these and put it back into the mixer. This is not a catalyst. And it's just going to continually loop. So you'll always have one iron in the mixer to start this process. Because you're going to take these 9 and just for you're going to break them down to molten ferrous, and then that is going to go into an electrolyzer, 3 units per iron. And as we've seen back here, you're getting 9 units. So therefore, since you need 3, that's 3 batches. You're going to get 2 iron out of this process versus, and then the 1 that has to go back in. And that is, if we go back here, 5 hematite to get you basically 2 iron. And if we look at this, 5 equals 2. So it's the exact same thing. Just this, you have to have calcite to go in, where the other one you do not. So you're not gaining anything that way, but you're just using some hydrochloric acid to break it down chemically. Now, the other way in the mixer here is to do this, where you're going to put the ferric chloride together with some sulfur dioxide, water, which, if you remember correctly, 2 batches of 4 ferric chloride gave us 9 units of water. This is only going to use 6 to process those. So we will have 3 extra units of water every time this runs. But on the output side, we're going to get our ferrous chloride, and that is 1 iron per. So again, 2 batches, 2 iron, same thing. Not gaining anything in any of these processes, just different ways of doing the same thing. But in this one, we are going to get 3.5 units of sulfuric acid, and 2 units of hydrochloric acid. Now, to make this, we had to put in 12 units of hydrochloric acid. So we're going to be using the sulfuric acid that we're getting out of here to make more hydrochloric acid out of salt. Now, granted, when we do this process, we're going to get chlorine out of here, which can then be mixed in a mixer with water to make hydrochloric acid and oxygen. We may end up setting that up eventually, but right now we want to try to do the other one, because in running salt and sulfuric acid, it uses up sulfuric acid. There's not a whole lot of things that use up sulfuric acid. And we have sulfur dioxide just sitting here, stuck in the roaster, a whole tank of it outside, and we have little to no use for it. And we have a lot more sulfides that need to be processed. Now, granted, the railgar that's here is basically useless, but I like to process down everything, so I'm doing it. It's basically just arsenic. So, and when we put it in here with our salts, we actually get out the potassium bisulfite and sodium bisulfite that is electrolyzed and then turned into our sodium and potassium persulfites that we need for bathing some of our ores. So to make sure we always have plenty of that stuff on hand, we want to use the salt. That way, we're using up our sulfur dioxide in the mixer part and in making more hydrochloric acid. And once we have chlorine down as an element, we can actually use that when we get into making matter fabrication, replication. We can actually use that for matter, because it only takes elements. And we can also void it if you're not, somebody that doesn't have an issue avoiding things. I prefer not to void things. I think of it more as and me and Greg actually argued about this one day, or can't say we argued. We had a theoretical discussion about the fact that I don't want to void sulfur dioxide, because sulfur dioxide, in my opinion, when you void stuff, it's going out into the atmosphere, and that would be polluting the atmosphere. And since we don't have pollution in the game, this is my way of, don't do it. It would pollute, even though the mechanic isn't here. Just me being weird, I guess. And Greg says, well, technically you're sending it to the end, to a void dimension, so you're not actually polluting the world. And in his mind, there are Endermen in that end dimension void world thing, since it's a ender garbage bin. To him, it's just a void world with that are, I guess, Enderman. It's kind of like an extra end. And he says, "Well, how do you know that the Endermen don't like sulfur dioxide or need your sulfur dioxide?" And I said, "Well, I'm already sending them butt tons of water." He said, "Yeah, which they don't like. They're allergic to. So maybe you should be nice and send them sulfur dioxide." But I like to do this in more of a semi-realistic thing, not thinking of it in a Minecrafty way. And to me, if I'm voiding it, it's like I'm just sending it out a pipe into the world. And therefore, if it isn't clean, I don't want to do it. So chlorine is another thing I would prefer not to void. I have ideas of what I will do with it until I get to being able to make the matter stuff. That's going to take a bit. But for right now, this is what we're going to set up. So we basically need to get hydrochloric acid and hematite into here, which, by the way, if you noticed, you can also do limonite in here. Limonite! Which uses 1.5 units and gives out 1.5 units of water and gives you 1 ferric chloride. So we're going to be attempting to set up the same exact thing here, putting our brown limonite, our yellow limonite, and our hematite all into the same bath. But now that I've gotten through this long-winded introduction, the first thing we're going to do is we are going to come out here to our tanks, and if I have, there they are, we are going to set up, we have a tank for hydrochloric, we have a tank for sulfuric, and this pipe right here is our input for the sulfuric acid. This pipe is our input for hydrochloric, and we have these two bucketometers that I just made, and we're going to put those on where I want it. It's not agreeing with me. Well, that's definitely not where I wanted to. There we go. So we're going to put this here. We're going to do the same over on the other side. You can see it says that it is full. So what we're going to do is we're going to set this to our screwdriver, and we want to know, we could use percentage mode. That would probably work. Let's see, if I put that coming out of there, no, I don't think we're gonna do, I think we're gonna do the less than setting for this one. So basically, if it's less than, this is 1728, so we're going to say if it's less than 1, so we'll get it down to 1 million liters, because that's 1,000 buckets. Because if we take this, we take the zeros off, that's 1,728 buckets of sulfuric acid. So if it gets down to less than 1,000 buckets, then it's going to put out a redstone signal. And we want that redstone signal to come out right there. And that is going to go into this controller. And that controller is going to control this cover. So we want to set oh, I just messed that up. We want to set this to the opposite. So cover works when input is off, which should be cutting that pipe off and not letting it through. And to make sure that let's see. I'm having a moment of actually, wait a minute. Let's do this. There we go. That's the way I want it to look. So I'm going to set that back. Okay. So we do need this set to off. Because right now it should be getting no signal. We want it to, it's going to get a signal when it gets to 1,000. So then that would turn this on. Yeah, that's the way we want it. So now I just need to duplicate that over here. This one's going to have to go this way. We won't even need the redstone this way. And this thing is going to be a pain in the butt again. Because you can't really, the thing is just a little off. Alright, so that's equals, that's less than, so we want that set to 1,000. Okay, so that will send out a redstone signal and close that. Now, why is that one different? Let's actually take this off of here and put that there just to make sure. Give me that and put that there. I should have tested this out again just to make sure it was right. So that's off. That. And see, right now it's going in, but on this one it's not. And I'm confused on why. Because they are both full. And they are both set to less than. That one is set to on. That one is set to off. Okay, that one needs to be set to on. And now that is closed. That is closed. Okay. Now that I got this all worked out. The reason why we're doing this is because those inputs are coming from our mixer on the inside. And because we are outputting sulfuric acid and hydrochloric acid from the setup that we're about to set up, we don't want anything coming from those two over there and keeping this mixer from being able to run. So now, next step is I need to run a hydrochloric acid line over here and into our bath, and then I need to run an output over to the sulfuric acid. I also need to get the sulfur dioxide over here as well. So we need to run a hydrochloric acid over to the bath, and then the mixer needs, we're going to use the water from the bath. We're just going to have excess we're going to have to get rid of. I'm still kind of working out how to do that without having an issue of running out. Because if I send it in here and do like a bypass pipe, then, well, no, that should be fine. If I run it from here, because this is 136 ticks that it's going to take to do this, where doing this is 512. So this process will get done every time, giving us water before we need to do the mixer. So as long as we have the mixer set up and ready to run before we run a whole bunch of the hematite, then we won't have a problem with getting the water in here. So if I do a bypass pipe out, then we can void the water that's excess. Yeah, that should work. Hopefully this works. So I'm going to go ahead and pipe over the sulfur dioxide, the hydrochloric acid, and then set up the pipes to send the sulfuric acid and the hydrochloric acid back over, which I'll just use filters to split the pipe into the two different ones. Trying to think if I want to run a quad pipe over. Let me get this piping worked out. I'll be back and show you what I came up with. Alright, so I got most of the piping done, but we're going to make something different real quick. So we're going to make a new extruder shape, and this one needs to be a ring shape, which is right below, and then there we go. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to make a stainless steel capsule cell container thing, since Greg has a million names on here. And basically the use of this is it's a 1 bucket cell that can handle something of that temperature. And because we're using a stainless steel one, it can handle acids. and we get 9 of them out of 1. So we're going to take 2 of them. We're also going to make a 9-inch pipe. And we'll get a gas nozzle here. And we're going to go get a little bit of hydrochloric and a little bit of sulfuric acid. So there is ours a hydrochloric acid cell. And there's us a sulfuric acid cell. Aren't they pretty? Basically what this is going to do is keep us from having to fill up a drum and put it back in. It's way more convenient, and I'll probably just leave these in a chest rather than putting them back in the tank. That way whenever I need them, I'll have them. Alright, so this is going to be the output. So we got it going that direction. We're going to have one go up and one go over. So we need to put our filters on there. And you see I've already got the pipes mostly ran here. I need to get more scaffold. I'll have to get more pipes too, because I quite don't have enough. But we have the sulfuric acid running with the sulfur dioxide and the hydrochloric running with the hydrochloric. So this is going to be the sulfuric acid. And then this one will be the... Oops, I just set that incorrectly. Good thing it's not hooked up yet. Alright, so rather than going and getting a hammer, we'll just clear it this way. Love that Greg added that ability. Alright, there we go. Now they are both set. And we can go ahead and run that far. I'll go grab the pipes and we'll finish that up. I actually don't have any of them turned on yet. We'll deal with that momentarily. Now, this here, we're going to put a tank extender here, which is going to go that way. And then we're going to put the sulfur dioxide there, which again, not set up yet. And then we need to get the water from the bottom of here into there. So we'll basically just bring it out and around and up to there, I do believe. Do I have any? No. Let's go get some out of the box then. Always have plenty in there. There's the rest of my stainless pipes. By the way, this thing has been running really good. You can see we are actually out of alumina. All the alumina we had in there is completely gone. So it has been running like a champ. Turn that back on and get more alumina going in. Eventually I'll hook up igniters to a lot of these different things, but for right now, just doing it manually occasionally. Alright, so the one thing here is we need to leave a place to hook up the fuel to our engine. CO2 will be coming out the bottom. So we'll bring this back to, and then we'll come up along the side here, and that'll put our water in there. Not the cleanest, but it's better than sending it up and out through there. So that'll take care of the water. Then we need to get our ender garbage bin, and still debating on how we're going to do this exactly, because if I put this here, then it pretty much has to be past this point here. I actually want to try something. Because I know with the tank extender, anything that goes in the primary will come out the secondary. So I'm almost betting that if we put a pipe here, then any water, well, it could send out the sulfur dioxide. We don't want that. So that won't work. There is also the valve, which releases fluid when the pipe is full. And it will do well, fluids. It'll do liquids if it has a pipe connected to it. Well, a tank connected to it. So I'm just wondering if I put that on here, if it's going to oh, I know exactly what we can do. So if I do take this out of here for, well, technically I didn't need to take that out, I needed to disconnect it. So what I'm thinking here is we put this here and we connect it there. That way we have an excess. We have a buffer. Yes? Yes. So that'll give us a buffer. That'll keep it flowing into there. And then we can put the ender garbage bin. Could always do the Give me a minute. Let me think. I thought I knew what I was doing. Now I'm not sure. Alright, so this is our valve recipe. We need 2 bolts, screwdriver, and wrench. There's our pressure valve. I'm going to go ahead and throw the rest of these in to be bent up so we can turn them into pipes. So what I decided to do here, I'm going to take this out. And we're actually going to put it in right here. I think. The idea being that that's going to be the closest place for the water to go to. So it should fill it up faster and shouldn't get full quickly. I'm so glad I don't have these hooked up. And then we're going to put the pressure valve there. Because if I put this on there now, my worry is that that pipe is going to fill up and it's going to release too much. But if I do it this way, we can actually just break that out of there. And then we can connect this up right there. And we'll just have to see if this works or not, the way I'm expecting it to. The good thing is it's only water, so if we void too much, we can always reset, get some extra water, stick it in, and try something else. So we want this set to will fill, so that will fill that pipe, which will send it up and over and into there. And then if it can't, it'll put it right in there. We'll see if that works or not. I really should put one there, and I will eventually. Okay, so I think once I get the fuel set in here, we're ready to start this first part. So let me get that done, and I'll be right back again. Alright, so I don't have the CO2 ran yet. So we're just going to pop that block out there for the moment. And that's going to go right there. And I will run it when we get all done. Making more pipes. It'll take a few minutes. But we should be able to get this turned on and see how it runs. So first thing, we need our automatic machine switch. Now we can hook up our fuel. So we have petrol in there. It's ready to run. And I already went ahead and put one stack of each in there. This is the pipe I'm going to run to connect them all when we know everything is running. So we need to connect this pipe right here. This is our hydrochloric. So we'll connect that. And then we need to connect our sulfur dioxide. And let's do this, which is kind of dangerous with that burner sitting right there. But there we go. Which also means that this should be kicking on once we get sunlight. So now, if we come over here, our bath is running. We got plenty of sulfuric acid in there. And there goes the water. We got ferric chloride in here and sulfur dioxide, but we do not have water. So that has nothing in it. So what I was afraid of is what's happening. It is voiding everything. Because that pipe is instantly full and not getting instantly emptied into the tank. And our hydrochloric acid pipe is not done. That's why that's getting full. So let's go ahead and get that done real quick. There we go. Alright, so that's not going to work. I know what we could do actually. Now that I think about it, what would be the easiest to do is if we, oh no, we can't do that. I was going to say if we could put this on the drum itself, then if it gets full, we could void it. But that's not going to work. We can't put it on the drum. Alright, so we're filling up on sulfuric acid. We're going to fill up on water eventually. So we've got to figure that part out. Now, what I did back on the server when I initially set this up was I just ran a longer line off of here because the fluids in the pipe basically settle out evenly across all the pipes. And therefore, the longer away from it is, the less it's going to go that way. So I think what we might do, let's see here. Just wondering. Well, to tell you the truth, I'm not quite sure at the moment exactly how I want to do this. But I do know that we're going to get rid of this. For one. And we're going to connect this back like that. And we'll take out this extra that we don't need there. And I think what we're going to do is we're just going to run a couple extra pipes from here. We can just kind of run them up a bit here. And then we'll put that on there. And like so. And we'll see how that works. Alright, so we do have the wrong amount of hematite in there. We do have to make sure we send these in 5, so we're going to have to use a hopper on our item barrel down there. Now I need to go check on the sulfuric acid and the hydrochloric acid. This is running again, which is nice. This is not running because we actually set that a little bit too low. Yeah. So we want to up this one. The sulfuric acid we barely ever want to make. But this one, there we go. That one we do. So it's still got 28 buckets left in there that it will not fill up. So that'll always give us a little bit. So that should mean that this is now running again. So that'll use up the sulfuric acid. But as you see, neither of these are running. So it's using the sulfuric acid that we're getting from here to make the hydrochloric. Now, did I not get the hydrochloric connected all the way? Yeah, that pipe is connected. Or, that pipe is full. Let's go see if I missed a connection over here. Because that should have room it should has, oh yeah, look right there. There's your problem. I missed the connection. And well, now I made that one here. Let's just go over here. Oops, wrong one. That one. There. Now that should all work fine. Alright, so this is running, everything's leaving. Go ahead and take the hematite out, and that'll allow the limonite to run. We are getting water in there, so that's good. Looks like it's coming through nicely. Alright, so I'm going to leave you guys there for today. And when we come back next time, we will be setting this up over here, which will run our ferric chloride into our electrolyzer and get our iron. So hope you guys enjoyed, and if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll see you next time.